So today we are going to ask that question, are chakras real? You hear this get thrown around in, new agey spaces and Eastern philosophy, but we do have our version of it here in the West. So what I noticed was that they kind of align. So this is what we can learn about our body's energy centers using Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The chakra system in Eastern philosophy is sometimes chalked up to woo. On the contrary, taken for what it represents in accordance with the glandular and organ systems of the body, you'll find some interesting right brain concepts about some very left brain science. In addition, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, an interesting correlation really reveals itself. On this week's episode of Trust Your Gut with Tania, I'm delving into these correlations and getting into the nuts and bolts of the chakra system and why understanding it from the Eastern perspective adds a fuller comprehension to human development. Welcome to Trust Your Gut with Tania. I am Tania Abbatello. I am a functional nutrition strategist and wellness practitioner who helps individuals relieve chronic complex health issues that haven't responded to conventional approaches. I have a background in biology and technology, and I take a systems-based investigative approach. Basically, I troubleshoot you, just like any computer person would troubleshoot computers, right? Same idea. But I also integrate Kundalini Yoga, Pilates, and sound healing to help clients not just heal, but fundamentally recalibrate their body functions under stress. Alrighty, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to go through some exercises from, this is the a form of Kundalini warm-up, so that maybe we can demystify what Kundalini Yoga actually is, and you'll discover that it looks kind of familiar in some ways. It's not really a movement that you haven't done before. There are some differences in how we move the body in Kundalini and the repetitive movements as well. That's a little different. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a sequence and I'm going to explain each chakra as we move on up. And this is my kitty Merlin. He is curious. So I may have to kick him out. In any event, what we're doing here today is we're going to sit up nice and tall. You could follow along with me. You could watch this. I am not going to do a full length of warm up here. That is 20 minutes, and with all of the explanation that I have to do, it might just be too long. So I don't want to do that, because I also want to end with a little bit of a sound healing so that we can work on the crown chakra, because the first thing we're doing is working on the root. So in Kundalini Yoga, we do chant. We chant Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo 3 times. And what that does is it allows us to get in touch with our bodies and our higher selves to bring wisdom so that we don't really hurt ourselves. It just gives us this extra added layer of understanding and intention that our practice is in fact the best thing for us. So, sitting up nice and tall, bringing the hands into heart center, bringing the thumbs into heart center. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale through the nose. Kundalini is all inhale, exhale through the nose. Inhale, I will just do the Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo once for you. Normally it's 3 times. Taking a deep breath in. Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. Taking a nice deep breath in. Exhaling, letting the hands come down to the knees just in a moment here to keep our thumb, index fingers touching back of the hands, resting on the knees. This is Gyan Mudra. We are creating a circuit in the body here. The nervous system is like an electrical system. So what we're doing is we're treating it as such. And you want your nervous system to be complete and there to be no short circuiting. So keeping your fingers together like this. This is why you see people doing this. This is what we're doing. Your body is electrical. It just is. This is actual factual. Everything I'm going to tell you here today can in fact be backed up by biology and or science in general. So, flipping the hands over, you're going to start moving your body around. So we are working on the lower part of the body here. We are bringing the body around and opening up the root chakra. The root chakra is at the base. It's the taint. It's that part underneath your undercarriage, sometimes I refer it to. You're inhaling forward, exhaling back. The default position when you are in Kundalini Yoga is eyes closed. And you can focus by looking at the center of your forehead from inside. Kind of picture that. And finding a good place to move in the other direction. So, the root. What's the root? The root is literally the root of the problem, the root of the issue, the very beginning of everything. As a matter of fact, you were the root before you were anything else. I joke around and excuse profanity, but before you were anything else, you were an asshole. I will be linking the science behind that in the show notes. Because it is true, when you are being formed in utero, when fetuses are formed, the deuterostome, which is like these two openings, it's your mouth and your butt. Your butt before your mouth, which is really very interesting. So we are just moving around. We are getting that part highlighted, integrated, awakened. Okay, you're awakening up the bottom. This is where all of our, just take a nice deep breath and exhale. There's a lot of information. I'm going to do my best to give it to you slowly, piece by piece. It's also associated with safety, basic needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, food, water, shelter. This is the root chakra. If this root chakra is blocked, then that means you cannot move your way up through the other chakras. That means you will not necessarily progress in an optimum way as a human being. This is what Maslow's taught with the hierarchy. This is what the chakras also represent. So the next chakra we're working on is the sacral, which is in the sacrum. So that's a little higher up. We're talking right about here. It is where your womb is. If you have a body with a womb, I will use that language. And it is also a center of creation, no matter which gender, sex, whatever you are. This is the area where creation is. We want to open that up. We want to get the next area in the lower back going. So you're taking your hands and you're exhaling forward, inhaling forward, exhaling back. Now watch my pelvis. My pelvis is rocking forward and back. It may appear as if my shoulders are doing the work. Your shoulders are not doing the work. We are exclusively working on the lower portion of the body, and we are inhaling forward, exhaling back. So this is awakening your creativity center. This is clearing up any debris that we have in our lower spine. Studies show, as I had in my previous discussion about Kundalini, that this does in fact exercise the cerebral spinal fluid up and down the spine, and it causes your lymphatic system, your reproductive system, your cardiovascular system. This is a simple yet very effective exercise to get that portion of the body going. Now, yes, what does that have to do with creativity? Well, that is in fact the next part on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He does have the portion of reproduction in the bottom for the physiological needs, but here's what I tell people all the time. Now you'll be moving your hands up to the knees, and we're going to be continuing this movement in the spine a little higher up. We are now working on the solar plexus. But before I get to that, I want to explain more about the sacral chakra. So physiologically, you cannot reproduce if you do not have the other needs met. So it's extremely important that you have these other things in place. Unfortunately, we have so much infertility happening right now because a lot of people just do not feel safe. Their bodies are not in an ideal situation. We have a lot of toxic load. We have a lot of improper diet. We have some horrible sleeping going on. There's just so much stress. There's people looking at their phones constantly. There's a lot of things going on. So unfortunately, that blocks because we don't feel safe. Our root is blocked. We want to be moving on up. So that was the sacral. Right now, we are working on the solar plexus. So it's interesting that it says solar, like the sun. There's a huge bundle of nerves right here. And this is where the solar plexus is. This is where your personal power is. And in Pilates, we call this the power center because that is, in fact, where you get a lot of the power to move, to get your abdomen engaged, and to move the rest of your body. So we're inhaling forward, exhaling backwards, and this is where your personal power comes from. Obviously, now you have your food, your shelter, your water, you feel safe, you're able to reproduce. Now you have some power, right? And it doesn't have to be like ugly, horrible, power. Like, it's power to just accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. Coming center, taking a nice deep breath in. Next, we squeeze that root. So you're squeezing the lower muscles, okay? So sometimes it's the kegels, we call them the pelvic floor. You're holding this as you're holding your breath, and you're picturing the energy going up your spine, out the top of your head like a little fountain. And exhale and relax, bringing those hands to the knees. I just want you to sit here for a moment, listening to the sound of my voice as I explain some more things, but notice your body. Notice how you feel. Do you feel the energy shift in your body? It does make a difference. You feel like something's happened. It was a very small movement, yet it was extremely powerful. So, in your personal power, we have come to that place. The next part that we're working on is the heart chakra. Now, this is where the love center is. So we're going to take our hands, we're going to put them on the shoulders, fingers in front, thumbs in back, and we're going to inhale and twist left, exhale and twist right. Now what we're doing here is, there's a whole bunch of things we're doing. We are activating the heart chakra. So this is really great, this breathing for our cardiovascular, but it's excellent also for the lymphatic system. We're working on our liver, our gallbladder, spleen. This gets all of those things working. This is the chakra. This is the hierarchy of need where you can feel, experience, also, give love and community and having a place in the world. So working on this, you are physically working through the heart, the lungs, this area of the body. That's what's going to make you feel better about everything. I know it helps me to feel better about things. But we're working our way up the body, up the chakras, and through the rainbow. I'm not really going to get into that. You'll see a diagram that I have created that brings both of these concepts together so that you can see them with their names in, I believe it's Sanskrit. I didn't want to overburden you with a lot of factoids today, but working on this is what gets us through to love. And it's interesting how taking a nice deep breath, keeping those arms wide and squeezing that root one more time. We're doing that. What happens, exhale, bring the hands down, is I find it very interesting that your heart and the nerves that come from the area in your back and this part of your body here that come out to your arms. And hugging people, right? When you're hugging people, it's really important that you take 20 seconds, if it's somebody you like. And that's the other thing. Use some good boundaries here. But if it's, you want to get a nice hug in there, pressing your hearts together, there's an electromagnetic pulse that comes from your heart. And when you embrace another human being, your heart and their heart actually communicate. Again, this is actual factual. This is kind of physics is what we're getting into. There's some biology, some physics. It gives off a very distinct electrical charge. This is why they say your vibe attracts your tribe. Like, some people's hearts are moving, if it's moving too fast and it's pounding and whatever, I mean, that's stress. And if you're strong enough, you can bring somebody in, you can calm their nervous system just by giving them a 20-second hug. But it's interesting that the arms are right there, right? I find this whole design just amazing. And whether you believe in a higher power or just the power of evolution, it's still pretty cool. So the next chakra is the throat. The throat chakra, we are also working by shrugging the shoulders up and letting them drop. Inhale, exhale. So this is kind of working its way up. This is excellent for lymphatic drainage, breast health, getting everything moving. Looks kind of funny. Again, your eyes should be closed. Just listen, do the movement, relaxing the legs, the lower body, and sitting up nice and tall while we're doing this. The throat chakra is your ability to express yourself. And one of the things that really does help is singing, the vibration. That was the other thing I was going to say about the mantra that I did at the beginning. Singing mantras, singing your favorite song, singing out loud like nobody's watching. That is excellent for your throat chakra, and it helps you to express yourself and get your ideas out there. And that's also coming on up through the hierarchy of needs, right? Communication, things like that, proper communication. We're going to inhale, squeeze. Squeeze the lower muscles again, squeeze the whole body. When you tense up everything like this and you hold it, and exhale. We bring the chin down. Just tracing the collarbone. Now you can go side to side. Or if your neck allows, you can come up and around. Remember to sit up tall. Relax your jaw. And just let gravity bring this around. And finding a good place to go in the other direction. And around. And coming center. Nice deep breath in and out. That one in and of itself is great. Any of these exercises you can do separately, but in that sequence, it's a very nice way to get things moving. Next, we'll be working on the third eye. So, the third eye, what is this? What is this thing people talk about? Oh, open your third eye. No, it is the pineal gland. It is located in the center of your brain, and it is the part of your body that, well, the gland that converts serotonin to melatonin. Now, what are these things? You sometimes hear about them. As a matter of fact, people, they sell melatonin all over the place, usually in purple jars, which is interesting because it's kind of sort of the color of the third eye, which I find very interesting. Just saying, the clues are there. So your third eye, it is literally a third eye. It determines, it see when it's light and when it's dark. And it does, in fact, take the serotonin that your gut makes. That's where the serotonin is made. And it converts it to melatonin, which is what helps you sleep and dream. And this is why you have to be very careful if you're taking a melatonin supplement, because you can dream during the day if it bleeds over. I've had that happen. It's not fun. It's very bizarre. Try your best not to take melatonin. The actual therapeutic dose is 0.5 milligrams. Many of these things that are out there have way too much. I understand they're good for other things, but just please. So for the third eye, what we're going to do is we're going to do breath of fire. This is one of those things that we do in Kundalini on the regular. And what this does is this rhythmic movement up and will bring this cerebral spinal fluid up and down, as I demonstrated previously. So you're just going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to breathe, sniff in and out. 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 And out If this is difficult, you can pant. And just continue to do that while I'm explaining what we're doing here. So we are bathing the brains in the cerebral spinal fluid. We're getting it moving in the body. This is one of those things that helps you with clearing out your brain from all the yucky stuff that's in there that causes dementia, Alzheimer's. Just doing this breathing exercise on its own is enough as well if you want to do that. And you could be doing this at home because nobody's watching you. But if you're in a class with me, everybody's doing this, so don't worry. So again, vision, the ability to see ahead, okay? Getting proper sleep really has a lot to do with foresight. I think that's kind of where this connection is. Maybe a stretch, but that's what I'm getting from it. Again, the diagram shall explain for me. So, that is the third eye. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Lastly, we have the crown, the 1,000-petaled lotus, as they call it. The crown is what is out here and above. You have an electrical field around you. This, some people theorize, is where in fact the higher self is, or connects, or how you connect to God. This is why everything is up in the head, in the crown, and we see this in religious iconography. It's like a halo, that is the aura, the auric field. So what we're going to do for that is I'm going to have you just sit, back of the hands, resting on the knees, thumb, index, fingers touching. And I would like you to just stare in the middle of your forehead. Breathe normally, relax, and listen. All of us, this is physics, is the self-actualization. You are recognizing your part in the greater whole, and that's what meditation accomplishes. It takes away all of the thoughts, all of the worries, all of the hurries that you have in your ego, and some people get bent out of shape. Well, the ego, no. Ego is the illusion that you are separate from everything else. According to physics, you are not. Atoms are teeny tiny little things. Energy, photons, electrons, neutrons, protons, just moving around. You are mostly empty space. You share electrons with the ground in which you are sitting. You share electrons with the people around you. You and the world and the universe are all interconnected. Once again, this is physics. This is why I feel taking in the scientific and the spiritual is a very important way to understand reality. So, I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I will certainly be offering a little more in the line of education around these sorts of things, as well as at some point actually doing some classes. And you can take this thing and you can do it and you can follow along. I welcome you to save this and listen to it anytime you wish and go through this sequence at any time. Also, you can subscribe. This is a subscriber funded podcast. I do this in addition to a bunch of other things, but I do take the time to do this, and I will be offering more to my paid subscribers. So If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you have subscribed, consider upgrading. And I will see you next week. Until then, have a sparkling day.